How many of you would like to have solar tea with me in my Energy Swaraj Yatra bus and to discuss how we can solve the problem of climate change together?
Hello everyone, welcome once again to my show Solar Chai Pe Charcha with Prof.Solanki. So right now my yatra, Energy Swaraj Yatra is in Jaipur and I'm having a really special guest with me, Inderjeet Singh. We have been knowing each other for many years, and when he was a collector at Dungarpur, and now he is a IT commissioner. He is also awarded by Prime Minister, by the President for excellent work, innovative work that he has been doing. So Inderjeet, thank you so much for being here and joining me with the Solar Chai Pe Charcha. So welcome here.
Thank you, Chetan. And since I'm in Jaipur now, you're welcome to Jaipur and happy to have you here.
Thank you. Let me, it reminds me of the work. I remember once you made me a call from Dungarpur. I remember it went for almost 1 hour and 45 minutes. I still remember first time, two people talking to each other, but the call went to 1 hour and 45 minutes. It is because of all his enthusiasm that he wanted to do a solar lamp project that we have done. So do you remember that project, what we have done and how it has taken off?
I remember very vividly. Rather, I would say that that project has changed my outlook in many ways, especially the way I look at public service. I think public service is much more than doing the routine. It is exactly the opposite of that. We need to question the status quo, and we need to do things which people actually want. We need to work on problems which are real and the solutions that people are vouching for, rather than giving them some kind of top down solutions. It is always better to have your ear on the ground, listen to what people actually want, and then try to work around it.
Yeah. So I also remember, once Inderjeet, we called us and we were there from IIT Bombay. He was a collector Dungarpur. We went to meet the self-help group women, and we're all, having in room, there were discussion going on, women were talking, and suddenly their gungat fell by some 1.5 feet, and we realized what happened, that the male person has entered in the room. So that is kind of situation. In the very same district, we ended up helping women to assemble 40,000 solar lamps, and they earned some 32 lakh rupees out of it. The same project then went further, and we helped them to establish a module manufacturing plant,
Right. Durga.
One of its kind was a Durga, and that project was also awarded by Honorable Prime Minister as an innovative project for the district. That was a really great, going from a women wearing gungat and then all the way till module manufacturing plant, and one of them becoming a CEO of that plant.
Rukmani Devi.
Rukmani Devi,
I
yes.
remember the name. Yeah.
So it's indeed a great, isn't it? So you think those kind of learnings, it has been great learning for me, and I have written this in my book also, my experiments with solar truth. So how solar should be utilized, that project taught me a lot of things. So what do you think, are there things that you picked up from them and applied in your other
A lot. I would say the most important thing, and I go back to the call that I made to you, is the fact that I had heard about a project, a million soul project, which was happening across the country. And I'd heard that something is going on in my district. It made me very curious that some organization, IIT Bombay in that case, is trying to light up, the households which do not have electricity connection, and specifically for those whose children are going to school, right?
Right.
So it kind of nudged me as a collector of the district to at least have an understanding what this project is all about. I searched a lot of places. I went on the internet, finally found out about you, that there is a person who's trying to do something not only in one or two places, but he is trying to have a footprint for such a good cause across the country. In that context, it was not a choice, but a responsibility for a person like me to reach out to you. And I remember that call very vividly. It was a leap of faith for me. I never imagined that we will come so far, but I think that was the first lesson learned, is that if you really want to do something, you have to take a step forward, and that step most like would be a leap of faith, right? In that call, I saw that. And then whenever we used to put our ideas into action, I clearly remember it could have easily been the tribal male youth of that district. The project might have gone much better in so-called stereotypical ways. But the reason IIT Bombay and Dungarpur administration wanted to work with tribal women was because we wanted to showcase not to public at large, but also those women who had never stepped out of their households, who had never been into anything of this sort, which is much challenging. A tribal women assembling a solar lamp, soldiering, going on to manufacturing, distribution. They set up 5 solar shops, if you remember.
Yes.
So all those things, they were an understanding to see that if you really want to attempt a problem, it should not be a piecemeal approach. It should be a wholesome approach. So I've learned a lot, and probably I've from that day onwards, we've been kind of constantly organically growing and trying to learn more.
So let me also add something that this project was very widely then circulated in not only Rajasthan but UP, Bihar, Assam, Jharkhand, Odisha, and and thanks to your support that time, that there were few area where it went to higher up and manufacturing unit, but this solar lamp assembly and how localized solution can be very powerful. Let me give an example. So that time the secretary of MNRE, Ministry of New and Renewable Energy, used to be Dr. Satish Agnihotri, and he once made a call in Banswara neighboring,
Yes.
he was visiting Banswara and he said, Chetan, what I am hearing from people here in Banswara, and I was little taken aback, what he's saying. He said, people are saying here that because of that solar lamp that we women assembled and sold and repaired and maintained locally, because of that solar lamp, the number of deaths due to the snake bite has gone down. And that's unbelievable, that how powerful technology, if it is done in a right way. And I think Inderjeet, you have taken from that. We have done many projects and awarded by prime ministers and president. He has been always not so normal officer in my view, trying to do different things in many ways. And I know we have been talking before this Chai Pe Charcha, and amazing thing that I'm learning. One of your project was this Udaan project. In the Chittorgarh you were there, where he brought some 19,000 girl child to the school, and can you share something about that? It is really amazing how you have done it.
So I would build upon the Dungarpur experience or your experiments that we shared. Chittorgarh was my second charge as a district collector, and by the time I landed in Chittorgarh, I was very clear that this is once in a lifetime opportunity to be in position of responsibility, and no doubt we should be responsible for doing the routine activities like welfare activities and everything, but at the same time responsibility is much higher to do something which is a real problem. So in Chittorgarh, when I was interacting initially with lot of people who have concern for their district, who are locals, and the problems that got highlighted, one of the problem was the girl child enrollment ratio had been not that good as compared to what social profile of the district was. So we surveyed the whole of the district. We found that around 20,000 girl child of the age group of 6 to 14 who were to be in school were not in school. And it kind of puzzled me because, when I looked at my parents' generation, I saw that education was seen as a great empowering tool. And why that 40 years 50 years down the line, rather than embracing education, people are turning away from education, whereas government is trying its level best.
So the number of the girl child enrollment was going down?
Yes.
I see.
And for me, even a single girl child who was being supported by the family or by the government, if she is not in school, was a problem statement for me. I wanted to work on that why would in 21st century any parent or any child not rather be in school and not doing anything. So we approached with the same leap of faith that we took in Dungarpur, and I thought that if the problem is to be addressed, it has to be addressed now. And that is when we kind of started working around with government as well as non-governmental agencies. We surveyed the district. We did something called Shiksha Chopals. We'll work the whole day as government officials, and in the night we'll go out to far-flung villages. We'll sit down with the villagers, discuss the issue, create awareness, and we worked on that campaign for consistently 3 years. And at the end of that campaign, it was not a problem to be solved in a top down approach. Villagers took the whole campaign into their own hands. Not only girl childs were brought back to school, but we had public contribution in monetary terms, upwards of rupees 10 crores, I would say. And not only the girl childs were back in school, but the schools started, having their own way of life.
So, two things to be noted. I mean, to be noted down. First of all, a district collector going to the Chopals and visiting all kind of villages. I hope every officer does that. And then you mentioned that the 10 crore rupees were contributed for building schools by the people.
Yeah.
Isn't it? So, I mean, I see a lot of similarity in between what I'm doing as a Energy Swaraj Yatra, that I left my home and going and meeting people just to bring that connection. And once we make a connection with people, they understand the problem, isn't it? However difficult it is, bringing people on board is very important to solve any problem. What is your experience as an officer?
I think I have learned a lot from your journey, and that is how I have always tried to kind of look at the world. It's like, inside outside, and at the same time outside inside. So what Energy Swaraj Foundation is doing presently is the fact that though everybody in this world accepts that there is climate change, everybody in this world accepts that girls need to be in schools, everybody accepts that tribal women needs to kind of be financially independent, but the idea is, first step that needs to be taken is, we'll have to address that there is an elephant in the room. We have to accept that. And once that problem statement is identified, foremost importance for me is about creating awareness. And that is the first step, I think, which Energy Swaraj Foundation is doing in a brilliant way. And though I wanted to, share these things at the end, but I would say that here is a man who has left his household, who's on a solar Swaraj Yatra. For 10 years, the person is moving around in this bus and trying to reach out to far nook and corner of this country just to create awareness. But this is a massive step, and I would say a much required step. Though people, from their comforts of their households, their ACs, their lounges, they do a lip service, but awareness is much more than that.
So, in the bureaucracy, if I can ask, if and your colleagues and officers and commissioners and collectors, what is the level of kind of understanding that the climate change is an urgency and emergency? Out of 0 to 10 scale, where do you rate current level of understanding among your colleagues?
I think it is very little. I will not like to put a number on that. But I think sometimes we expect too much from a certain cross section of the society, be it bureaucrats, be it public representatives, be it business houses. The problem is similar, what a common man faces. The idea is, though they all accept that there's a problem, but there's a difference between accepting and there's a difference being aware. So I would say, yes, everybody knows that there is climate change. Everybody knows that something has to be done. It is accepted, but they are not internalized it yet. They are not fully aware about what actually is happening.
It has not gone to their blood.
Yes.
So he has been doing many different things, and one of the thing that he has done is taken a break from his service and went for the higher education. He was, have a degree from Princeton in public services, and that is happening. That happened recently. I remember we had discussion. I also wrote some later. So, why did you do that, and why you took taken a break and then went to Princeton, and what are the kind of learning from it?
So the word learning in itself is something which I have been kind of very focused on. I think human life is all about learning. It's all about experiences that we have. So I had spent about 10, 13 years in the service, and I was trying to reflect back, like, have I learned something? Am I growing as an administrator? Am I giving more to the society? And I remember a famous quote from Rumi, which probably I internalized while I was thinking about the concept of learning. So the quote says, "Unlearning is probably the best form of learning."
Yes.
So that is, in that context, I wanted to take a step back. I did not wanted to fossilize as a bureaucrat, that probably I have done so many districts, I have been awarded, and probably I'm the best person on the ground. And I wanted to take a sabbatical. I wanted to reflect on my journey till now, and that is where Princeton came along. And I'll be very happy to accept that you were kind enough to recommend me as one of my friend to Princeton as an IIT Bombay professor, as well as a person who had seen my work. And it was in my first attempt that I got a very coveted scholarship. Only 20 people globally
I see.
make it to that level every year. It's a very coveted program. It's a 1 year master's in public policy, and continuing with the kind of learning that I had had with you, I focused on sustainability. And I was not surprised to say so that not only you as an individual or India as a country, the whole world is seized of the matter. But I would be willing to accept here that many people talk about it, but here is a man who is actually acting upon it. I would say yatra is something which is unimaginable. People in US or other developed countries would not even accept this thing, that a person in India is on a yatra like this and is creating awareness. Sooner or later, we're gonna see results on the ground.
Great. So, in your Princeton times, I mean, was the sustainability part of the course design, or it was your interest to bring it as a part of the learning?
So we have a very flexible program. All
Okay.
were mid-career professionals. They need to have a minimum of 10 to 12 years of work experience. They were like US diplomats. They were like people who were finance experts. And we had about 100 and upwards of courses available for us, and we had complete flexibility to pick our
To
courses.
pick up, I see.
So I saw that a lot of good centers were working around sustainability, and I was fully into the idea that sustainability is something which we all need, not as a work or a profession way, but for our survival as humans. We need to work on that.
So that brings probably the last question, that now it is about the survival, and in my experience, and I have been now in this bus for last 1065 days now, I don't see that urgency coming out of our leaders, political leaders, social leaders, academic leaders. What do you, in your picture now, you have just you've done this course, and you see, is there any emergency felt in corners, or if not, what you and I and those people who are a little concerned about the current status of the planet, what should be doing in your view?
In my view, I believe that things are changing. I'm a hardcore optimist, and I would always believe that sometimes change happens incrementally. Sometimes there are big bangs. So even if you'll see bigger problems or bigger comparisons that I can make, a country like India, uh, under the foreign rule for so many years, but there arrives a Mahatma, and the same country unites together. There is a lot of understanding, cohesion in the society, and then they start working towards independence in a completely different way. So it was not that people of the country, were not, concerned about the fact that they need to, break away from this foreign rule. But there has to be something which kind of brings everybody together. And that is what we were discussing earlier, that though everybody knows that something is a problem, the first step is towards creating awareness. And that is where I believe when we are having so many discussions, there are so many conventions and there are so many talks, people like you have started stepping forward. So when we see a Greta Thunberg, when I see a Chetan Solanki, when I see others talking about this thing, they're not just talking, they're taking, the problem to the next level. That is creating awareness.
So me as an individual, trying to kind of bring the change and change the perspective of the world, the important stakeholders includes, policymakers, the bureaucrats, the politicians. What is your suggestion for me and Yatra? I mean, how much we can rely on these three stakeholders on this mission of, moving towards energy independence? How much to, expect from politician, from a policymakers, from a bureaucrat? Can we really think of a large contribution from them, or it's eventually individuals will play a bigger role?
So I think it's a mixed bag. How I see it is that we cannot take away a common man out of a public representative or a bureaucrat, and vice versa. Responsibility is not only for the leader but also for the people. So what happens is that you have to have a certain threshold level. What I see you doing presently, you are trying to create a certain level of threshold energy for this movement. And I have seen your journey till now. A lot of people have been taking note of this journey. A lot of people have been trying to become a part of this journey now. And hopefully, and I'm very confident about this, that by and when the time comes, this journey would become a karma. And the kind of goals that you've set for yourself, the positive forces would surely come together, and you will reach the kind of goals that you've set out for. So that is how I see things happening.
All right. So everybody whom I invite for Solar Chai Pe Charcha, we know that the climate change is a very serious issue, and everybody has to take some action. Is there any action that you carry forward from today, that I will do this from today or that from today? Is there anything? I mean, one of the thing I keep asking people is, at least we started this Wah campaign, Wrinkle Achhe Hain. So every Monday a wrinkle day. So I would like you to take some pledge from today onward that you are going to do something to save energy or material.
So you have given me a bouquet of choices. The hard one was going solar altogether off the grid. I would say that that is something which crossed my mind when I was kind of talking to you before this interview. But surely yes, tomorrow being a Monday, today is a Sunday, and I will be happy to be a part of Wah campaign, wherein tomorrow, though being a bureaucrat whose crumples or whose non-ironing would attract an eye of people here and there, but tomorrow onwards, Monday would be a wrinkle day for me.
Wonderful. So thank you so much, Inderjeet, and thank you so much for joining me in Solar Chai Pe Charcha.
Thank you.
Hope ladies and gentlemen, you would have learned many things, and how an individual, and I have been really still in awe of the work that Inderjeet has been doing and is still doing. And thank you so much for joining on this, and hope in you as a bureaucrat, in your capacity, will proliferate this message to the wider community, and let everybody be part of this moment, and let's move towards energy independence, because it's energy that has created a problem, the wrong energy. Let us switch to the right energy in the right way and in the right time. So thank you so much for joining.
Thank you, Chetan, and best of luck.
Thank you.
Thank you.